What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel as you tune in and you check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on LeBron James because recently there was a interview that came out, LeBron James, where he said he picked himself over Mike, Kobe, Shaq, and all the greats, right? And so that's understandable when when you have an athlete who has that that much confidence in themselves that they have picked themselves over everybody, right? But when I think about Mike, Kobe, Shaq, and those kind of guys, I always think about the stories that not what those guys tell about themselves, but the stories that other people tell about them. Like you can't interview somebody who played against Shaq and they not tell you like how they may have challenged Shaq before and it went wrong. It didn't go like what they thought. Um because once you it's like waking up a sleeping bear. Once you challenge Shaq, you challenge somebody like Kobe or you challenge like Mike, like all those guys have stories told about them where it just backfired on people who try to talk stuff and intimidate them and try to get inside of their head. Plenty of stories about those guys. Kobe, I remember what's the guy named Rayshawn Bell or something like a Raja Bell. Raja Bell, just tried to get in Kobe's head one time and was talking stuff to Kobe. Kobe just destroyed him. Who else Kobe got like that? He at one time it was Matt Barnes. Then it was what was this guy? I forgot. It was just a whole lot of stories like that you hear about Kobe. Allen Houston one time was talking stuff to Mike and it backfired. Then you had J.R. Ryder talk stuff to Mike and it backfired. Kevin Garnett talk stuff to Mike, it backfired. But you don't hear those type of stories about LeBron James. You hear about guys who was able to get inside LeBron James' head and affect his game and affect the way he played and also affect the outcomes of games. Right. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that LeBron James is a great basketball player, but he's just not on those guys' level. He's not Shaq. He's not Mike, not Cole. He's not that kind of dominant ball player, right? And so that reminds me that of a story that Kevin Garnett told when he was playing against LeBron James. Like Kevin Garnett had no fear when he was with the Celtics. They had no fear of LeBron James. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play this interview with it was Kevin Garnett. This probably was about like 6 years ago, and he was on the Bill Simmons podcast. Kevin Garnett, Bill Simmons, and I forgot this guy, this actor name. He played Happy Gilmore. I forgot Adam Sandler. Right. And so listen to Kevin Garnett when he speak about LeBron James. And remember, keep in mind, like you never hear anybody, even if you don't like Mike, Kobe, or Shaq, if their opponents don't like them then and they didn't like them now, they never speak about those guys like this.
2012, the famous season that's commemorated in this movie.
Yes.
Derrick Rose gets hurt.
Wow.
Philly, Boston, all of a sudden seems like, oh, whoever gets out of this. Miami, who knows? Miami hasn't won the title yet. Celtics get through Philly. Rondo's making threes.
But he was getting better.
But those were clutch, major threes.
He was getting better.
Going to the Miami series, 2-2 at Miami game 5.
Right.
Celtics win in Miami. And they're talking all kinds of shit to LeBron. All kinds of shit that whole game. Correct or incorrect? You're trying to get in his head. You feel like you can break LeBron at this point?
We broke LeBron.
In game 5.
So get your ass out of here with that, all right? You understand how you got the Cleveland, how you got the Miami, Bill? You remember
That's
that?
true. You broke him in 2010.
So remember that, all right?
Fair
so
enough.
Stop bringing that up.
Kevin Garnett just said we broke LeBron. Like I challenge anybody to come up and say that in this game we broke Mike, we broke Kobe, we broke Shaq. That people just don't. Even if you just so happen to win a game against Mike, Kobe, or Shaq, nobody says that they broke those guys, right? you might have won a game, you might have won a battle, but these guys won the war.
Right?
Fair enough.
So they was talking shit to him, okay? The media and the league knew that they had an agenda in which we wasn't part of the agenda. You understand? Right. And that's how they ended up winning that series. Yeah, I said it.
Do you think you pushed LeBron too far in Game 5? Because Game 6 he was unbelievable. You think you gave him the eye of the tiger?
Pushed him too far?
Nothing?
Man, listen, let me say something to you. The C's, we didn't give a fuck about LeBron. We didn't fear LeBron, and we didn't think that he can beat all 5 of us. And that's how it felt. He was trying to consolidate because he didn't want the pressure on him. You understand?
See, now we're getting somewhere.
See?
So, and you never got that from none of the greats back in the day. Like, they never wanted to consolidate because they shied away from the pressure, you know. And when your opponent knows that and they see that, they're gonna jump right on that, because they know, like, the only reason why LeBron James even went to Miami, because, you know, that pressure on him in Cleveland. And I've made videos about this before where I say LeBron James, when he was in Cleveland, after his 7th year, and he looked up at what Mike had accomplished, and he didn't think that he was going to be able to catch Mike, he panicked. He panicked, and he jumped ship, and he went to Miami. And everybody in the league knew that. And once LeBron James exposed that chink in his armor, you know, it's only natural that somebody like Kevin Garnett was just going to key in on that and just, you know, go after it.
But you see what you did?
I get
I'm still mad at that. I feel like we could have beaten them.
I'm sure, but we weren't part of the agenda.
Yeah.
The agenda was Miami. He wasn't going to Miami to be like Cleveland. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Wade did break Rondo's elbow and didn't even get suspended.
He tried to.
Remember, he had the big
Listen, bro. That's sensitive to all of us. Listen, a lot of people think that it's sports. If you had D-Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron over in this corner, and you had me, TA, I'm just making these names up, maybe Paul and Rondo right here.
Yeah.
It'll be a what's up, and it'll be cool and respect, but it won't be any like fraternizing. It ain't gonna be like, yo, how the family? It won't be none of that. No, it's real. They don't fuck with us.
Forever, huh?
We don't fuck with them. But
that era of basketball, you know, like, Kevin Garnett didn't just come on. That's just not his opinion. But that used to be how basketball was, how competitive sports was. Like, even if you ran into these guys, your opponent off court, you didn't really, you know, it wasn't all that fraternizing, right? Switching jerseys and you know, signing jerseys after the game and taking pictures. Guys didn't do that. They didn't do that because they wanted to beat each other so bad that, you know, it probably never even crossed their mind to switch jerseys like Magic switched jersey with Bird, you know, or Mike switched jersey with Isaiah. That wasn't going to happen. I remember one time I heard that Gary Payton asked Mike, I think it was after a game, if Mike could sign, you know, put his autograph on a pair of shoes with Gary Payton, and Mike damn near cussed him out, you know. So, you know, it just wasn't, and that's why you got from those guys. I can't imagine somebody asking Kobe Bryant for an autograph, like another player, or asking him for a jersey. That's Kobe just had a bad attitude. Kobe just had a bad attitude.
But it's cool though. It's a mutual understanding in which we have respect for each other. But it won't be like when I did the interview with D-Wade, that was me having to interview D-Wade. But part of me, you know, that he knows and he knows. And we talked about that off camera, and it was an understanding. But everybody knows that's in there. We go to All-Star games, they on that side, we right here.
Wow.
Yeah, it was real.
Out of the current.
Just imagine if LeBron James had that mentality, whereas though, you know, it was like he didn't, you know, like that just would have raised his level of competitiveness up. If LeBron James had the same kind of mentality at Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Rajon Rondo, right? If he had that type of mentality, I think LeBron James would have been an even better basketball player, which is, you know, some people might say, well, that's hard to say that LeBron James could be any better than he was, but he could have been, in my opinion, a lot better than what, you know, he was. But in my opinion, it was more so mental than physical. right? I remember the Los Angeles Lakers had a policy where, though, if they, if you knock somebody down on the floor, Pat Riley would fine you if you help the opponent up off the floor. The Detroit Pistons had a policy where they had a no layup policy, where they would prefer to give a hard foul than a layup, right? And so, it's cool for LeBron James to pick himself above, in front of those guys. And I wouldn't expect him to say anything different than that. But looking at how all of those guys that he named, Kobe, Mike, Shaq, in that article, and he said, he would pick himself over those guys. It's probably a short list of people that would pick LeBron James over Shaq or Kobe or Mike, man. Those guys just had bad intentions, man. And that's why they played the way they played. That's why they had the success that they had. Like I said, I think that LeBron James could have been even better, but he just didn't have that mentality like those guys. It's almost like LeBron James was just nicer, or maybe he didn't want to put in the work that it took, so he wasn't all the way committed to being a villain. Like, though Mike and Kobe and Shaq just don't care. They have one mission, and that's just to tear your heart out. And so that's what they try to do. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. With that being said, I'm going to check you all out in the next video. Peace.